All right, good day, all. This is Charles with the Exodus Logistics Learning Center, America's #1 dispatcher and freight broker training. Today is Friday, the 15th of August, 2025. This is our second week Friday edition of our Freight Broker 101. Got some new students, well, new student, Tamika. Hello. And
Hi, everyone.
got Mr. Ellis here, and of course, the one and only Sierra. Hey, Sierra. Can she hear me, Sierra? I think she can hear me. Well, at any rate, she might be turning the mic on. So, Sierra yesterday met me and my mentor in person. She
Wow.
came in town. We She had a great discussion with my mentor, and yeah, that was some powerful information. And then we actually went out to lunch, had lunch together. We was there for like a couple more hours. So we like, man, we spent the whole day together. So, and she left with some good information. So it's always great to meet my students in person. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to get around the country. I want to see Mr. Ellis. I want to spar with Mr. Ellis in martial arts. I'm too old, Mr. Ellis. My knees are bad.
We the same age, man.
So, Chumby.
And these knees ain't the best either.
Yeah.
His neck is back. I'm like that game Operation. You know, you hit on the red light. Yeah, that's me.
So I'm broadcasting right now, guys, from my car wash. Um, so today I had to kill two birds with one stone because, you know, being a business owner, you gotta, keep an eye on your employees and things like that. So that's where I'm broadcasting from. So I may just do an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I normally do no more than 2 hours, but it's fine. But I'm excited because I have a new student that's in here right now. Tamika Simmons, hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Hello, everyone.
Tamika
Hello.
signed up. We have other students coming in too. And did my wife send you the information to get you access to the
She
portal?
did. She did.
So you
Yep,
see this on the screen. You have access to this back office area.
I do.
There you go. You about to
Yep.
have fun with these modules here. Um, so what brought you into transportation, brokering, trucking, dispatching? What brought you in this industry?
So, as I was telling you earlier today, my goal has been I've always had a passion to want to help people. And so I feel like this opportunity is going to provide that for people who otherwise find it hard to get employment or for whatever the case may be. I feel like this avenue is going to open up that possibility for me. So I've been wanting to do it for a couple of years now. So I'm like, I'm not going to keep putting it off. I'm going to go ahead and just dive right in.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening, Sierra. Sierra, is your mic? Go ahead and unmute yourself. See if you can unmute yourself, Sierra.
Hello.
There you go. How you doing?
All right.
How was your experience yesterday? I was just telling everybody.
It was great. It was a great experience. Thank you, Mr. Charles, for that wonderful experience. Um, I'm truly honored and blessed for that experience. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Her and my mentor, they were going back and forth, throwing blows at each other. Boo, 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 boo. I was like, go ahead, Sierra, do your thing. Okay, then. So Sierra knows her niche or her niche in the industry she's in. What she
Okay.
did, it kind of got Mr. Irwin excited because he used to do hopper bottom and hog, you know, end dumps and things like that. So when he was listening to her, he was like, "Oh man!" And then he called me later. He said, "Man, she really knows her stuff. I need to get on the team." I said, duh." But so yeah, but yeah, we had a good time. We ate and got fat, got full.
Yeah, we did. They
As soon as I
did.
went home, I did a swan dive in the bed. I was like, I kissed my wife on the cheek. I said, "Good night."
They
I'm
had
gone.
me tired. I was so drained when I got home yesterday. I was tired.
Yeah,
All
but
the
it was.
driving to get
I
back,
loved.
it was
I love the
experience.
experience. Though. I love what we talked about. I love the ideas we were talking about and the knowledge that we shared. And Mr. Irwin. rarely talks to a lot of people. I'm probably one of about 5 people that can get a hold of him at any time. So, but yeah, okay, but yeah, I you did your thing, Sierra. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Yep. So we got a new student again, Tamika. She likes to help people. She's in the industry in transportation. Tamika, we had a phone call earlier.
Mhm.
You do have your business created already, your
I
LLC.
do. I
What's the
do.
name of that? What's the name of it?
It's, so it's TKLS Transport Solutions.
Okay. Okay. Now you got the business set up, but you still haven't you're getting ready to learn and understand and apply for
Mhm.
your broker license.
That is correct.
Okay. So we got several people in here who already have that and can put you onto the learning curve along with myself on how to do
Oh,
that. And also we have tools and resources back here to get you acclimated into the documentations that you're going to need as a freight
yeah.
broker, as far as the contracts and documents between you and the customer or the shipper.
Mhm.
And then as far as the documents and contracts between you and that motor carrier or that owner operator that you're going to onboard and prove and get approved for your brokerage. So as a
Okay.
broker, by definition, you are the person who arranges for the transportation of freight. I see you writing, so I'm going to say it slow, right? So that's what a freight broker is. Another name for a freight broker is called a 3PL, third party logistics,
Part of
3PL,
logistics. Okay.
right? You've heard of that before, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Right. So you're responsible once you accept a tender, a load tender from the customer. Let's say you call so I'm going back to basics, guys. Some of you guys may enjoy hearing this, some of you may fall asleep, but but once you have a conversation with a customer, however you got the customer, whatever region of the country you decided to concentrate in based off of your demographic, you may say, I want to target general freight in the Midwest, or I want to target produce along the eastern seaboard, follow the produce from the south to the northeast, or you want to target lumber and steel and rebar down in the Panhandle, the tip of Florida and Georgia and all those Panhandle states. So whatever area you decide to do that, you call a customer, or maybe you don't even call them. If you stay near a customer facility or a distribution center or a warehouse, you walk in there, you holler, you talk to the transportation manager or the person in charge of the movement of freight, and then you get that conversation started. Ask them how you can be an asset for their company. Ask them what their pain points are. Tell them that you are a broker, someone who arranges for the transportation of freight, and you want to see if there's any pain points or any lanes that you can get involved with and helping them, right? So once you have that conversation, break the ice, either that way or over the phone. Now, over the phone, you may run into a small hiccup that we call the gatekeeper, right? You've heard
Mhm.
of those terms. Like they're usually like receptionists or secretaries that kind of like deflect you in another direction, right? So
Mhm.
when you get to a gatekeeper, a a tactic to get around the gatekeeper, a common tactic is they'll say this person is out there. They say, can you connect me to somebody in sales? Can you connect me to Ralph in sales? They'll connect you to Ralph in sales. You get to Ralph. Hey, this is Ralph in sales. Oh, I'm sorry, man. They connected me to the wrong person. I was looking for somebody in transportation. Oh yeah, that's Mike. Let me transfer you. Let me transfer you to him. Okay. Now you just bypass the gatekeeper,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That's a classic, right? That one's free, guys. You can use it as long as you want, as much as you want. So, but yeah, and once you get past the gatekeeper and get to the transportation manager, now you have to show your value, sell yourself. Brokering, well, in life, tell me if you agree with this or not. In life, everything is sales. Everything. From the time you get up to the time you go to bed, you're selling something, right? You're selling yourself, you're selling a service, you're selling a product. When you talk to people, you're selling something, you're negotiating with them, right? Even your kids are selling their behavior, whether they're going to behave good or bad. They're selling themselves to you because they want some kind of reward, right? If they behave good, they're going to get a reward. If they behave bad, they're going to get a whooping. right? There's consequences to sales. So if you have a good consequence of your sales strategy, then you win the possibility of getting a what's called a load tender opportunity from the customer in the form of winning that load tender by doing what's called a lane bid. You're bidding on a lane or a rate quote. I'm saying that slow because I see people taking notes. They're both the same thing. Let me close my door. They're both the same thing. You're bidding on a lane or you're getting a rate quote. If the customer that you're talking to, you broke the ice with that customer, you had a good conversation, and they say, "Hey man, I like you. I like you, Vancia. You seem to be a nice, personable person. I want to give you an opportunity. I'm gonna give you one of our I like you, but I'm gonna see if you can prove yourself. We've been having this one lane that I need a quote for. It's our toughest lane. It's hard to get it's hard to source trucks to that lane. So I'm using terms and I'm saying them slowly so you can hear what I'm saying clearly, right? We're having trouble sourcing trucks in this lane. And we want to know now, we don't have the time as a direct customer to do it ourselves. We don't have the time to deal with the carriers, to go through that headache of onboarding them. So we're looking to hire a good 3PL or a freight broker to assist us with that. We'll pay you a gross amount, and you handle all the covering of the truck, onboarding them, and paying them, and we'll just pay you. Does that sound like something you can do, Vancia? I can't hear you.
Sure, I'd be happy to help you with that.
Okay, so let me give you. Have you heard of a rate quote, Vancia?
Yes, I definitely have.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a rate quote on our toughest lane. All right, and our lane, we're in the fertilizer business, right? We have blending plants all over the country in strategic locations based on our customer base and our customer location. And we blend our products, either our biosolids or our NCMs, um, with other chemicals, ingredients to make fertilizer, the end product, and it's bagged and palletized on 1 ton pallets. A truckload is 22 pallets, 880 bags at 44,900 pounds. And I'm giving you that information, right? I need you to provide me a rate quote in one of our toughest lanes. Now, we have several outbound lanes going in different directions, about 6 or 7 of them, but our toughest one is this one here. Catoosa, Oklahoma, going to Mount Jackson, Virginia. I need you to provide me a rate quote and let me see what your numbers are as it compares to the regular spot market to see if you can give us a good price and we may give you an opportunity to run that lane. Can you do that for me, Vancia?
No.
You said no? You said no? So somebody step in and help her. Somebody step in and help her.
All right, I heard what you said, but it was a lot at one time, so I'm gonna type it out.
I'll start over.
First, you got to do the mileage. You got to figure out how far.
So where do you go to do the mileage? Let's go to a load board, right?
When I look at I go to maps. I always pull up Google Maps and then I figure out, okay, well, where are you located at? First, I ask the truck driver, where you at first?
I'm glad you said that. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. I'm glad you said that. So when you ask for directions from a customer, make sure, and this is for everybody, and I think, Sierra, you know this already, but when you ask for directions from a customer, make sure you get zip to zip.
Yep.
Zip code. Okay? So that, because you want the zip code of the shipping facility and the zip code of the receiving delivery facility. Okay? So, I'm going to log into a load board. Oh, by the way, for Tamika, do you know what a load board is and its purpose?
So a load board is where either brokers or the load I don't want to say the wrong name, but it's where they
carriers. You brokers and carriers.
Where they go to book loads or find loads.
Okay, she just joined today and she know that. What in the world? Okay. All right, so yeah, it's software that shippers post their loads for sale, and brokers post their trucks available for capacity to run those loads to get paid. Okay. There are several types of load boards out here. The top three are the different flavors of DAT, D-A-T. D-A-T is an acronym. It stands for Dial a Truck. Okay. The second one used to be called Internet Truck Stop, but now it's just called Truck Stop. And then the third one is this one that you're looking at right here, 123 load board. And they have different flavors. Some of the common functionalities of load boards, right? They all have pickup locations, delivery locations, equipment types, weight, dates, things like that. What differentiates and separates load boards are the different bells and whistles and extra features that they have. The reason, I don't think that's the best load board. The reason why it's ranked number one is because there are most of the brokers post most of their loads on that. So it has a higher volume of posted freight on that's the only reason why it's number one. And it has extra bells and whistles. Okay. But the other load boards have the exact same functionality as the other load boards. Now, the load boards, different load boards have a different user front end experience. Like when you go into their dashboard, some of their dashboards look better than the others, and that's fine. Some of you may be used to using that and you don't want to use anything else. When you switch to another load board, you say, man, I don't like how this look. I'd rather go back to you have a tendency to go back to what you're used to, and you don't go outside of the box. Right? That's a common human trait. You do a lot of things that you're used to and you don't want to go outside the box to experience new things. So 1 second, guys.
I have a question. So while he's on mute, did you guys get where he said when you're asking for directions, did he say directions or addresses
Okay, I'm
to
back.
get zip to zip?
You basically gonna do it from the address to address.
Okay. So he
listen,
asked, so you're gonna get the zip.
So let's do that right now. I'm gonna go to 123 load board, and it's a dry van. So by the way, when a shipper asks you to quote a lane, one of the first things you want to do is, well, could I get your email address, sir, and I'll have this to you at least by close of business today. Because you're not gonna, unless you're a veteran and you got experience doing it, you're not gonna do it right there on the spot. You got to look at your tools and give them accurate information. So one of the tools is your load board, because the first thing you want to do is go to a load board and get what's called the spot market rate for that lane. What that means is there's two types of rates. There's a spot market rate and there are contract rates. What's the difference, Charles? Spot market rates are what the brokers pay directly to the trucks. The spot market is what the brokers pay to the trucks. Contract rates are what the shippers pay to the carriers, direct customers, and there's no broker involved, right? So what we do is on a load board, if you're looking at a carrier level load board, which we are, then you're going to look at the spot market rate for that lane, get that number, and then put your profit margin on top of that before you give a quote to the customer. What is your profit margin, Charles? You ask. Every broker has their own, how much they want to make per load, what their own profit range is. I advise for this class anywhere between, I don't know, 10, 15 or 15, 20%. If you're brand new, you haven't experienced not one load movement, I would say about 10 to 15%, right? So what that means is whatever the lane's paying, the spot market is paying, you add that 10 or 15% on top of that, whatever that number is, then you round that up to a certain amount, and that'll be the amount for your quote. We're gonna do that right now, okay? So the first thing we do, you get the email of the shipper, and he gives you the email, and you send him an email, and what are some of the things you're gonna ask the matter of fact, let me bring my whiteboard up so we can give a visual.
What product is it that you're hauling?
Right.
What are the requirements?
Let me go to the whiteboard so you can see the whiteboard so we can see a visual of it. All right, whiteboard. Come on up. There we go. Okay, can you see the whiteboard, guys?
Not yet.
See a whiteboard on your screen?
It's coming in slow.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you see it. Okay, so when you get the email from the shipper and because you're asking them these types of questions so that you can formulate a good quote based off of the information you're going to receive in the email. So one thing you want to ask is what? Pickup and delivery locations, right? That's a basic question to ask.
Yes, yeah.
So now you can say you can either do it city and state or preferably zip to zip code to zip code, because that's accurate. The zip code of the address of the shipping facility and the zip code of the address of the delivery facility. What better way to get directions, right? So what else would you ask for in the email when you send to the shipper?
Product type.
What's the
I
commodity?
would ask product type.
What's the product or the commodity? The commodity is what's being hauled on that trailer. Well, speaking of trailer, what type of equipment is this commodity going to be hauled on? What's the equipment type? Is it a dry van? Is it a flatbed? Is it a reefer? What's the equipment type? What's the weight? You want to make sure that you are within your gross vehicle weight rating for the truck, or if it's an oversized load. If it's oversized, they're going to tell you because now there's other things involved in that. But if it's within legal weight, which is for the dry van, flatbed, and reefers, the GVWR is 80,000 pounds. So 80K, 80,000 pounds, GVWR. So what else we ask? Oh, speaking of pickup and delivery, are the pickup
Times.
are the
What
pickup
time?
right? Are they
Go ahead.
appointed times? Are they first come, first serve, or are they appointment times? Do you have to set an appointment at the pickup, or you have to set an
Because
appointment at the delivery? Who are the POCs at both facilities? Who is the POC point of contact? POC point of contact at the pickup location, meaning their first and last name, their cell number, and email. And then who is the point of contact at the delivery? First and last name, cell phone, and email. Because you need to contact that person in case your carrier has issues. Vancia, are you trying to speak? I think you're trying to speak. I can't hear you. Go ahead, turn it up. You got some headsets on. I can't hear you.
no, I was telling my husband to close his door so y'all wouldn't hear him in the background. But I don't think I was saying anything.
No, not you, Sierra. I thought Vancia was trying to speak.
Can you hear me?
You got to take your headsets off and turn your volume up.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you now.
Okay. 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 You stopped writing. I
Hey,
need that.
Vancia.
Hi, how you doing? Like the PR, you stopped at POC, point of contact.
So the first bullet point is pickup and delivery or zip to zips. So when it comes to pickup and deliveries, at the pickup location, you want to know who the POC is, the point of contact, their first and last name, their email, and their cell number or the office line. Same thing at the delivery facility, who the point of contact is, their cell phone number or their landline, and their email.
Okay.
If it's an appointment time, an APP, APPT, or if it's FCFS, that's a first come, first serve. Those are usually 24-hour shippers and receivers. You don't have to worry about an appointment. You just got to worry about what place in line you are when you get there. Okay? So that covers the first one. You guys got that one? Okay. So I'll erase that one to make room for the others. The second one is, what's the commodity? We all know what the commodity is. What's the product? What's the goods? What's being loaded on the trailer, right? We got that one. What's the equipment? Is it a dry van? Is it a flatbed or is it a reefer? If I were you as a new broker, I would concentrate on the three major equipment types first in getting freight. to get your feet wet as a new broker. Then you find your way in other things: bulk freight, heavy loads, oversized, overdimensional, specialized like with hazardous materials and things like that. But get your feet wet in brokering with the three major equipment types first. Dry van is general freight, flatbed, and reefer. Reefer is refrigerated freight. Of the three, dry van is probably the easiest to get into. Reefer is the worst of the three because you got claims. You load some strawberries, you look at strawberries, they go bad. You see? And then with flatbeds, they're kind of in the middle, rebar, steel, lumber. Everybody's doing lumber, so lumber is saturated. So I would say dry van starting out. Okay? Especially if you're going to broker within the. So as new brokers also, your starting point for brokering should be your local community, your local area within a 50-mile radius. So you can literally drive to the shipper and make yourself present. Go ahead, Vancia.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was talking to Chasa, and she said it is very hard for new brokers to even get a factoring company.
Okay. Did she tell you why?
She said because we don't have a book of business, our brokerage haven't aged.
So
She said
That's
just
one.
so that's true and it's not true. So every new brokerage, like when Coyote, TQL, CH Robinson, LDI, which is Logistics Dynamics. When they started off new, someone had to have given them a chance before they grew and exploded to who they are today, right? It's the same
yeah.
concept. If it's the same concept as you. Now, I agree with her. You're going to have a challenge in finding one. That's why we are linked up with one that does give brokers an opportunity. That's Seven Oaks with Monica. She knows who we are. We're connected with her network. So I would look at them. And there's a few others in our back office. So, but she is right. There is a challenge. It depends on how you look at it, though.
And
If
then
you
she
can't,
said that the only company that she found that would work with her husband was Armstrong.
well, now that's not true. I know that for a fact. That's probably the only one she couldn't find. But
Okay.
I have resources that can find you at least five factoring companies that'll work with new brokers.
Not factoring brokerages.
So your initial question was it would be
Basically,
hard.
everything was hard, is what I was trying to say. I was just using factoring company as a example.
Okay. So when you form your new brokers, and Mr. Ellis can speak to this because he's going through this process right now, right? Dealing with setting up business banking accounts, getting the insurance, the challenges and the headaches. That's probably a better word. That happens. Factoring and all the requirements that's needed from the new broker by those respective companies that you are looking to hire for your services. You're going to go through a lot of companies, and it's going to be painful a little bit. But once you come out from under that, you'll be okay. But you got to go through that experience. Just like TD Jakes used to say, you got to go through in order to come
The
out.
crushing.
You got to go through in order to come out, right? But that's
Yep.
true. That's true in life. Like on the other side, what is on the other side of fear is what? Success.
Yeah.
Success is on the other side of fear. And fear is what? An illusion for you martial artists. Fear is that's an illusion. False evidence appearing real. That's an illusion. And we have been trained either through media or our upbringing to look at fear as something that's real, but it's not. It's an illusion. Like the only thing I fear is God in my shadow. That's about it. So, but yeah, but your point is a good point, Vancia. But you just got to continue to do your research,
Okay.
right? And I'm going to begin to put more resources on the portal for other options for you guys, not just the ones that I deal with in the network, but ones that I know we may not have a network relationship with, but I know that they provide those services. So you'll have an option to call them as well and to see what they got to offer. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll get my wife to remind me of that. LaDonna's not here. She usually reminds me. But I'll get my wife to remind me of that. So also in the email, equipment type, right? Dry vans, flatbeds, and reefers. That's important. What's also important, you need to know the weight requirements of the load, right?
Mhm.
Is it a partial? Is it an LTL? Or is it a full truckload? Right? You understand the differences between those. If you have a question about anything that I'm talking about, please speak on the mic or raise your hand, right? And I'll definitely, and this is directly for Tamika. She just came here. I'm sure you're following along right now, though, right?
Oh yeah, but I understand what a truckload and a partial and all that stuff is.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
because with partials and LTLs, those are different specification and requirements to run partials and LTLs. You got stackability, you got how it's loaded, you got with partials how many one truckload can be several shipments of partials in that one equipment type. Like in one dry van, you can have about 3 or 4, depending on the pallet count. You can have several shipments in one shipments of LTLs and partials in one trailer. So
You
you have
mean,
to,
yeah, several stops, right?
well, yeah, well, I'm counting the shipment as a stop. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can have, let's say, 7 different stops or 7 different loads or 7 different shipments going to 7 different facilities that are not related to each other. Like a company like Saia, R&L, Yellow, YRC, these are partial companies. Old Dominion, Sierra may have heard of these. These are
Mhm.
partial, these are LTL carriers. They come into facilities and load the freight that they're getting from that facility according to how they're supposed to deliver. They may have other loads on their trailer already. They're coming to get this one to do a delivery, and then they're gonna deliver accordingly. First in, last out.
They they do it with equipment.
Yeah, see, so what else is what else should you think you should ask the potential customer in your email to them before getting the load tender? Do we leave anything out?
You said the commodity, where it's
Yep.
going, what they're hauling, the weight. Um, man, I can't even.
Accessorials.
Oh,
Accessorials. That's a good question.
yeah.
So what the heck is an accessorial? That's what is an accessorial?
Would that be
Access.
like if a truck, like let's just say a carrier arrived and then they either canceled the load when he got there? Would that be like they call that a truck something, truck
You're
order
there.
not used
You're
or
there. Tonu.
toning? Okay.
That is one type of accessorial. Truck
Yep.
order not used.
Are
Yep.
you are
You'll see that like
have
that on
she
invoices.
have you worked in the industry before?
So I used to work for this company called NFI Industries, but I come from the IT sector. So I
Okay.
would hear them talk about, I would hear them
Okay.
say just different words like um a LTL, a truckload, or partial, or a truck order not. Well,
Okay. Because you sound like
I
you
know the
got
verbiage. No, I know the verbiage.
it.
I remember the verbiage because I used to be surrounded by all the men, and I would pay attention to everything. And then it was a transportation company, so I had to get familiar with some of the lingo. But my speciality was in information technology.
Okay.
So Tonu is a
Charles, we could ask. Can we ask if it's a blind load?
we
Would this
can
is this load
that's a
going
little
to?
bit more advanced. I want to give at least 3 or 4 basic accessorials. The most
Mhm.
common accessorials is called detention, right?
Yep.
Where the truck driver is at a facility, either a pickup to be loaded or delivery to be unloaded longer than necessary. It usually take no more than an hour or two in some cases, depending on their wait time and then when they get into the bay door to load or unload a trailer. A trailer only handles 48 by 40-inch pallets, and there's 26 of them in a 53-foot trailer. It shouldn't take a forklift 3 hours to unload 26 pallets. Now, there are several factors that are involved in that. They could be waiting in line at a DC, a distribution center. So that starts their clock. The moment your driver, as a broker, the moment your driver gets to the security gate of the facility, either for a pickup of a load or a delivery of a load, that is when your detention clock starts. It's not when they get to the door. It's when they get to the gate of the security facility and let them know that they have arrived for pickup ABC 123. Why? Because they now are aware that your carrier is there. So their clock starts right there. So if I get to a facility, I'm driving and I get to a pickup facility, let's say at a Target distribution center, and I get to the gate and let the security guard know, hey, I'm here to pick up load number ABC 123, pickup order 453. You say, okay, let me call up to the office real quick, let the load manager know. Okay, you look at your watch and you log the time in. I got here at 7:30. He said, yeah, go to Bay 3. After, let's say after 10 minutes, he'll say, go to Bay 3. And then you go to Bay 3, you bag in, you chock your tires. You put those little rubber things in the front of your tires, your tandem, so they won't move. You dump your air so it levels with the loading dock for you carriers. I'm not sure if you know that. I think Sierra, you've heard this before. Chock the tires, dump the air so it can level with the loading dock.
I used to have to do that.
Yeah, before you even load it, before you even get to the loading, bagging into the loading dock, you swing your doors open and latch them to the side, right? And then you back it up to the loading dock, chock the tires, dump the air. If you have to dump it, if you don't have to dump your air, that means your loading dock is high enough to level off with your tail. But if it's not, you dump the air and lower it down and get it level. So you can put that dock plate up and your forklift can go in there level, right? So how do I know all this? Because I used to do it. But anyway, but your clock is still going. Your detention time is still going. It's not when you get to the door, it's when you get to the gate to let yourself know that you're at the facility or let the security people know. And let's say it takes them, let's say as soon as you dock there and you dump your air and you let them know you're there, oh man, the workers getting ready to go on lunch break. They'll be back in an hour. Okay, fine by me. I'm getting paid for this. Detention time. You sit in your trailer, play with your phone, watch TV, do whatever, right? They come back, the forklift broke down. Now they got to call MHS. That famous forklift fixing company that repairs forklifts. Got to call MHS. That's another hour. You're like, dang. Now what your carrier should do is call you. You're the broker and let you know these things so that you can notate this in your system, in your TMS system, or just on a notepad if you don't have a TMS system of what's going on, because it's you, the broker, who's going to let the shipper know that there was detention of X amount of hours so that they can pay you, the broker, so that you, the broker, can pay your carrier. The carrier gets paid through the broker from the customer. If the customer participates, if they have an accessorial policy of detention. If your customer doesn't have an accessorial policy on detention, you got to let the carrier know and let them decide if they still want to take that load. Because if they take a load expecting detention and you didn't tell them that they don't have a detention policy and detention occurs, that's an issue. Okay? So detention is an accessorial policy. And again, an accessorial is anything extra outside of the line haul pay that the carrier deserves that happened at no fault of the carrier. Anything that happens that's at no fault of the carrier, but yet they should be compensated. It's not the carrier fault that a TONU occurred, a truck order not used. In other words, the customer called you, the broker, and said, hey man, I know your carrier's on the way to pick this load up, but my customer canceled it until next week. You're like, oh shoot, I got to tell this thing on carrier, turn around, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, TONU, it usually pays up to $250. Okay, to cover fuel, waste of time, and all that other stuff.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Me as a dispatcher, do I progressively ask, is there any accessorials when I'm talking to the broker? Because I don't.
Yeah, you might want to, because you say, Mr. Broker, if there are any accessorials, can you make sure that you notate those on the rate confirmation, or even prior to getting if your carrier is not already onboarded with that broker and you help the carrier get onboarded with the broker, make sure you and that carrier understands with the broker whether or not they have accessorial policies, because it's the carrier that has to make the decision after he or she finds out whether or not the broker has accessorials, whether they want to take that load or not.
Okay.
You see?
I just always wondered when this subject came up. Like, do I proactively? Because all I've been doing is looking at the rate-cons to see if there's any on there.
Well, yeah, you look at the rate con and see if there's on. If there's not any on the rate con, still ask because sometimes brokers neglect to put them on the rate cons.
Okay.
You see? So you gotta, yes, be proactive. Now that you are
Okay.
aware that they are,
Because me personally, I mean, as I dispatch, I get to know what facilities take long and what facilities don't.
right.
But I feel like I need to proactively ask that because yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you definitely need to proactively ask. Yeah,
Thank
definitely be
you.
on top. So once you become familiar with accessorials, then ask, especially the most common ones like TONU, which is truck order not used, a broker cancels a load with your carrier, detention, your carrier is sitting there too long, right? The other common one is what's called lumper, Mumper. At a pickup facility or a delivery facility, those gentlemen and ladies who are on the forklifts and load and unload the freight from the trailer, those facilities charge for that service sometimes. That's called a lumper. These are like extra workers who get paid for their labor to load and unload. Sometimes the lumper fee is rolled into the rate, other times it's not. When it is not, it's either the responsibility of the carrier to pay at the facility or the broker to pay through a T code that to send to the facility. When you have to pay with a lumper with a T code, you call the broker. The broker needs the name of the facility, the tax ID of the facility, and the amount of the lumper. Sierra knows this. She's shaking her head. So, though that's a common thing. I need to know the tax ID so I can write this off as a company. I need to know what the amount of lumper is and the name of the facility so we can notate this and pay that lumper. Sometimes facilities don't take credit card or cash from the carrier and get a receipt to reimburse. They need a T code. That comes from the broker who gets it from the customer to cover that cost of the lumper. Okay?
Wait, name of the facility, the tax ID, and what else?
And the amount of how much it costs. What was the lumper?
Okay,
How
lumper.
much did it cost to unload um that trailer? It may have been $150, it may be $75, whatever that amount is. But here's a caveat. What happens when the facility on the forklift is unloading the trailer at a delivery or loading the trailer with a pickup and they damage the pallets? That lumper goes out the window. They ain't got to pay a dime.
Yep.
Because now they
But
are
you
at
still
fault.
got to pay that truck though.
They got it. There you go. But
So
you'll
when
cross that
does
bridge. We're getting too far here. You'll cross that bridge when you get to it. I just want you to be uh, aware of at least the four basic assets, and the other one is called layover.
I was just going to ask you about that. Does that take into consideration? No, no, it don't. It wouldn't make sense. Okay, but when does layover come into play? Because I was going to say weather, but that don't make sense.
And then lumper is usually anywhere between $50 to $100 an hour, depending on the facility. I'll put that down there. $50 to $100 an hour or more. I seen lumpers back in 19 go up as $200 an hour. That was crazy. But that's a large distribution center like Walmart, Target. Uh, they can afford to do that. Steel over in Virginia Beach on Viking Drive, the big steel corporation. STIHL Steel. You've heard of that. The orange and white steel company.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Lumpers can be anything. That varies. And then layover is when a facility, your driver's at a facility, they're getting close to getting closed and getting your truck in. They say, well, we don't have time to load you today. I know you're here to pick it up today, but if you wait, you can't wait on our campus, but there's a truck stop down the road. You can wait there and then come back in the morning. You'll be the first one in the morning. Then
Okay.
if that broker that you got that load with has an accessorial policy, has an accessorial policy for layover, they'll cover you for that for the night layover. And he'll do his clock hours, 10-hour reset, come back in the morning, he'll be the first in line and then get loaded. Now the carrier should tell you if they're working, or not you, but Well, yeah, you the broker, but if you had a dispatcher, you'll tell the dispatcher or tell the broker directly, hey, I got to do a layover. I can't pick this load up right now. But you, the broker, already know that because the facility had already called you and said, hey, I know we were supposed to load you today, but we called our customer, the receiver, and they said it's fine. We're going to give your driver a layover. They can stay at a truck stop and they'll just come in the morning and grab it. Are you okay with that? Well, it's not me that's sleeping there at night. I got to call my driver and say, is he okay with that? So, and that's what you'll do as a broker. Well, can you afford to do your clock hours overnight at the nearest truck stop and then come in the morning to get this load? Of course you can. It's beautiful actually because now you recycling your hours. You got some fresh hours, right? And then you start your clock all over again. Get that load. Get some extra money for
But
layover.
if you're a dispatcher like me, you done already booked his his back
Well,
off.
well,
And
well. And as a dispatcher, you have to be careful in that. You don't want
yeah,
to dispatch too far out because if
yeah,
let's say you dispatch 3 loads for your driver, he goes to pick up the first load, but the middle load of the 3 gets canceled. What
yeah.
do? You still got
I
to
would just, if
You
it
got to
were me,
find
I would just
partials.
wait.
You got to find partials to get them to where you need to go.
Or I would just wait and see how it goes at the shipper, and as he's getting unloaded, then you can book his next stop.
right. That'll create a
That
gap.
solidifies your next move. You know what I'm
Right, and
saying?
that'll create a gap in your so with dispatching class, with this, I know this is a broker class, but with dispatching class, I tell them to be kind of careful. Don't dispatch too far out because you don't want to put yourself in that situation where you're going to have your carrier in limbo. So, and I give them strategies on how to do that. Okay. So these are accessorials. This is what also we include in the email when we ask the shipper to send us information. Is there anything else before we get to the actual load board and look up the uh the information here?
Yeah, real quick on the layover, because like you said, if there's a layover and his clock resets, regardless of how long he's been on the clock. So if he's, let's just say he had 6 more hours before his reset.
Well, if he has 6 more hours before his reset, then that's a great question. So he can decide to either park his truck and put it in probably in on duty not driving and then rest up at least 6 hours and then start his clock and do his 10 hours. So that's going to be 16 hours. So he got to come back later that morning. It depends on what time of day, the day that he had to do the layover, and what time he's coming back after the 10-hour clock cycle. So it varies. So if he has 6 hours left, then it's 6 hours plus the 10-hour reset, depending on what time it is. And like if it's like 2 in the afternoon, it can't be 2 in the afternoon. If they're going to close, they're usually going to close like at 5 or 6. So let's say at 6 p.m. He got 6 more hours. He'll go up to 12 midnight. Then they got to do a 10-hour reset. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 in the morning. He may come there at noon to pick that load up. So because he got some fresh hours now, he just did his reset. So it's circumstantial and it's situational, right? And the one variable you got to count on is how many clock hours he has left when he was told to do that layover. You said 6 hours. He could have had 3. Well, he could have had 2, which would be great. So the less hours you got towards redoing your clock, the better. The more
Now,
the
so
more hours you got before doing your clock, the worse because you got to decide, man, do I do a layover and just rest up in the morning, snatch the load, and then go do my reset, park it at a truck stop with the truck loaded? Now I've seen carriers do that. They'll go to the truck, to the shipping facility, get loaded, have less hours left, but have a loaded trailer, freight on their trailer, go to a truck stop and park the truck and lock the trailer and do their reset because they still figure they still have enough time to do their reset and still make the delivery on time. But you're running a risk there.
but that is the carrier's responsibility.
That is the carrier's responsibility.
That's not on the broker or
Of course not.
Okay. So then they would know that. So they would, but like you said, so that's their decision to make.
Right.
Without necessarily the broker even giving any advice. He can just kind of suggest, but at the end of the day, the carrier should know because he has to, I mean, he's the one who's handling it. So he's hands-on with it. So he should know that, hey, look, in order for him to play his cards right, he needs to manage his time in a way that it all works out for him.
Correct. That is correct. You got it. So let's switch over to the load board, and now we got all of our carrier. I mean, no, we got all of our broker requirements from the customer. They said it picks up in Catoosa, Oklahoma for a drive-in. So I'm gonna put origin Catoosa, which is in the Tulsa market. It's near Tulsa, Oklahoma. Picks up in Catoosa, and I said, what did I say? It goes to Mount Jackson, Virginia, right? Did I not say that? Mount Jackson, Virginia.
No, I don't think that's what you said, but you can use it.
Okay, so we'll say Mount.
Yeah, you said Jackson, Virginia.
Mount Jackson. So remember, we're looking at a load board that's giving the spot market, even says it, carrier spot market rate. In other words, and it's recommended rate, and it includes the fuel surcharge. So what does that mean? When a rate includes the fuel surcharge, that's called an all-in rate. That is an all-in rate. If the rate does not include a fuel surcharge, that rate is just a line haul rate. Okay? I need you to understand the difference. Hey, Miss Jennings, I just saw the name down. How you doing? D Jennings. I just saw the name. Like, who is D Jennings?
I'm doing well. Thank you. I got in just in time. I'm on my way back home from work here in Vegas. So traffic's a little crazy, but I'm in the car wash and tuning in to some constructive conversations.
Okay, are you a student or guest?
Say again?
Are you a student or a guest?
I'm a student.
Okay.
I signed on with you about a week and a half ago.
Okay, cool. All right. Glad you're on.
Question.
Yes.
How come we have different rates?
What rate do you have?
I have 2291.
Well, 2291 is close to 2300. That's close enough.
Yeah,
20
but why?
What load board are you looking at?
The same one, 123 load board, market rates.
What equipment type do you have?
Van.
And the city, the pickup.
Catoosa, Oklahoma to Mount Jackson, Virginia.
Do you have a broker? What kind of 123 load board do you have? You have a broker?
Carrier.
That's what I was going to ask. Which one are we looking at? Are we looking at the carrier load board, or are we looking at the broker load board?
I'm looking at the carrier. I'm looking at the carrier. Let me go to the top and make sure that I'm looking at the carrier.
Wait a minute, April.
Yeah, this is the carrier.
So shouldn't we be looking at the broker load board? Because
Okay, see, you have the same thing now. So why did it change?
I refreshed.
Okay.
Right. So the reason why I'm looking at the reason why I'm looking at the carrier load board is because as a broker, I want to get the perspective of what other brokers are paying to the trucks before I add my margin to it. Right? So if I say, so as a general rule, if all the other brokers are paying on an average, this is an average right here. Let me scroll down and show you the range of that. The rate analysis right here shows the low end is $22.91. It's all the way across the board. Low end, average, and high end is all $22.91, $2 an hour. So that's a solid rate, spot market to the truck. Okay, and it's an all-in rate, which means it includes a fuel surcharge. It's not just a line haul. What is a fuel surcharge? You ask. I'm looking at Tamika. She's shaking her head. What is a fuel surcharge? So a fuel surcharge is a cost that some brokers will pay. They will mitigate some of the fuel costs to help the carriers, motivate the carriers to take a load. So it'll be so much cents per mile. You go to the energy website, the EIA.gov, and you'll get the rate per mile, what the fuel surcharge is. I think right now it's like
123 load board will show it to you too. So that you got to put in the deadhead miles here on 123 load board, and it'll show you the fuel surcharge on here.
Right. And it gives you tolls. It gives you estimated fuel costs at 7 miles a gallon. So they're assuming that a tank on the tractor trailer can get about 7 miles to the gallon at $3.55 per gallon. So you divide that by the rate, and it'll give you a number of gallons. You multiply that by the price per gallon, and that'll give you how much it costs in fuel. That's how you figure out. We'll go over that later on, but because I know I said it too fast. Yes, Tamika.
So that fuel cost is included in that 2291.
Right, it is included, but when you deduct it, it gives you the net profit that the carrier is going to make. So
Okay.
this is what the broker is paying to the truck, but after they take out for fuel and tolls, this is what they're really going to get.
Okay.
16.
Okay.
This is what they see on the rate confirmation when they book the load. But 123 load board is saying, okay, well, we're going to help you factor in your fuel costs and your tolls for this lane so you can see your net profit for it. You're going to get it at a gross amount of $22.91, but after you do your expenses for this, Mr. Carrier or Miss Carrier, $74.03 for the tolls and $582.09 at a $3.55 per gallon diesel cost, you're going to end up with a net of $1634.88. You started with $22.91, so you lost about $600 something in expenses. You know, some of the most, you got fixed costs and variable costs when it comes to expenses. Fuel and tolls and the insurance, these are all fixed costs because they happen all the time. You're going to always need fuel. You're going to always pay for insurance to keep the truck running, right? But that's not a responsibility of the broker. I'm just telling you that if you are a good carrier, you should be aware of that so you can run your company efficiently. Otherwise, you're going to be in the red. Okay? So, this is the spot market, $22.91, right? So let's go to, remember that number. Let's go to the whiteboard and calculate our margin, right? Or our, because we're gonna give a quote. So let's go to the whiteboard and do that. Whiteboard, here we go. There we go. So, can you guys see the whiteboard? Okay. So $22.91 was the spot market. Remember what the spot market is what on average what the brokers pay to the trucks, to the carriers. That's $22.91 is the spot. Spot rate. I'll just put spot. What did we decide was a fair, as a new broker, what is a fair profit margin that we should try to make off of every load, off of every tender?
10%.
10%. Okay. Any other takers?
What you say? I stepped away.
What is a good fair profit margin we should try to make off of every load tender? Tamika said 10%. I usually
20.
About
10,
15, 10 or 15.
10 to 15.
okay,
No,
so
I'm
everybody
taking
saying
20.
10, 15, 20 something. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna meet everybody in the middle and say 15. So what is 22.91 times 15%? What does that number equal to? And I'll do it in the background too.
Yeah.
So you just open up a calculator and you type in 2291.
$343.65.
Okay. So $343 and how much cents?
And 65 cents.
65 cents. So that would be your profit margin if you were to tender this load with this customer at 15%. You're looking to make $343.65. Now, but you still got to give them a quote in order to win this tender. So add $22.91 plus $343.65 and tell me what that number is.
It's 2,000. Hold on, $2,634.65.
2,600 and what?
$34.65.
$34.65. So this is your threshold number. This is what you give the broker, but you want to negotiate. So you got 2634. If I was to give a quote to the broker, I would give it at what? Maybe 27,
27.
27, 2750, or maybe even 2800. I won't go too high because I don't want to outquote myself or outbid myself. So you can either choose 27, 2750, or 2800.
Well, I would do 2800 because you want to leave some room to play with. If you do 27, he's gonna come back with the 26 again. 26. So you want to give him some room to play with. If you say 28, I was always taught to ask for more than what you want so you can get what you want.
Oh, I can't stand you. Who taught you that?
My daddy.
That's what I usually do when I get up there. She hit that right on the head.
So, okay, so let's say we got it. Let's say we won this low tender at 2800. Okay, so we got our number now, 2800. Remember 2800, right? So now we go, they send us a low tender. We got to still either accept or reject it at 2800. Of course, we're going to accept it because we're the one who negotiated at 2800. So now once you accept a low tender from a customer, you, the broker, are responsible for moving that freight. You guys understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a contract. That is a legally binding contract. Okay? So you got 2800 to play with. 2800. You know that the spot market on average 2291. So how much wiggle room do you got to play with the carriers to negotiate if they decide to try to go up? Like they may say 2300, 2450, whatever. So what is 2800 minus 2291?
500, 509.
509? You said 509.
Yeah, 509.
So you got 509. You have a $509 gap, right? Because you got a 2800. But remember, your profit margin originally was what? 343 some change?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What was that? 343.65?
65. Yep.
So now 343.65. So subtract that from the 509 gap. What is that?
Like 100 or something.
This
That's
is the game.
$166.
$166. That's how much gap you got to play with. If the carrier convinced you to get out of this gap, then you're tearing into your profit margin. You definitely don't want to lose your profit margin that you start off with, which is 343. You follow me, Tamika? You looking at that?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you negotiated up to 2800. You take that from the original average from the spot market, 2291. That gives you a 509 gap. Well, you charged 15%, which is 343. So you put that 343 in your pocket, you got 166 to play with. As far as when I say play with, you're negotiating with the carrier. So if I'm a carrier, give you a hard time. Hey man, I see you posted this load on the load board for let's say 2300.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, man, that's a nice price, man. But can you man, I'm ready right now. I'm empty. My truck's right there. I just finished up my reset. I got fresh hours, and I'm about 15, 20 miles from your pickup location. Can you do 2450? So an extra $150, 2450, which is tearing into that 166. It hasn't touched the 143 yet, your profit margin. If you're willing to give them that extra 150 at 2450, it's going to tear into that 166, which will leave what? $16. You got which
I'd
is
still
fine.
do it though.
Yeah, you still
do
do it because that remaining $16 is going to get added to your 343, so you just add it to it. But now if they say, can you do it for 2500, that's $200 over. So now $200, now you are $34 in the red, which is going to which is going to get subtracted from your profit, your real profit margin. Now you're tearing into your profit margin.
So that's what I wanted to know, because me as a dispatcher, I'm gonna let the carrier make that decision.
Of
But
course you will. Why would you? Yeah, you're not. You're supposed to. You're not allowed to make that decision for them. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I would just have to let him know that I didn't get, the full, my full rate, so it would come out of the total. But
So yeah, I see where you're going. So if the broker says, "Hey, I can't give it to you for 2,500. I can only give it to you for 23, and we're firm on that. Take it or leave it." Then as a dispatcher, you would let your carrier know what they said and let the carrier decide if they want to take that load or not.
so as a bro,
Go ahead, I lost you there.
as a broker, what would I do as a ship with the shipper in this situation?
You would do nothing with the shipper because you've already won the tender.
Oh,
Yeah, this ain't got nothing to do. Once you got that 2,800 and you negotiated up and your 343 profit margin, you've already had that experience with the shipper already.
so
You
we're just
passed
trying to
that.
keep some money. Okay.
Exactly. You want to add to your profit margin. You don't want to take away. You're in this.
Okay.
Are you not in this game to make money?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. There you go. So yeah, this is beyond the shipper. Once you accept the load tender, now you in the realm of sourcing a truck or getting a carrier to move that freight for the customer at the lowest target rate possible so that your profit margin can be higher in proportion to that. So the lower your target rate in proportion to your profit margin, the higher your profit margin. You see, if your
Gotcha.
target rate if your target rate is exceeded by the carrier by whatever amount of money, dollars that is, then that amount of dollars is going to get subtracted from your profit margin. You understand economics, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
If the carrier out negotiates you beyond your target rate, that difference gets subtracted from your profit margin. They're going into your pocket, not the shippers. Remember, the shipper is tendering this to you for 2,800. They can care less what you pay the truck. Matter of fact, this is a common theme. Never share with the shipper what you pay the truck to move the load, and never share with the truck what the
With the
shipper gave you the
shipper.
load for.
Yep.
So you're playing a balancing act as a broker. Matter of fact, what broker in their right mind would do that? You run the risk of losing both sides. If the
Mhm.
shipper knows you're paying the truck less than what they tendered it for you, they say, "Well, I can lower my tender." If you're paying them less than what I tendered it for you, well, you can have a little bit of wiggle room, make you a little profit, but you're making a substantial profit. So let me lower it. Let me give you 2,500 instead of 28. If you're giving them 23, let me give you 25. You can make 200 off of that. You're like, damn, that's not right. Well, you shouldn't have opened your mouth. Shut up.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then if you let's flip that. If you disclose to the carrier that hey man, this broker paid me, man, 28 for this, man. I'm gonna get to you at 23 though. Wait a minute, what? Wait a minute. No, he paid me 28, give me 25, give me 26. Why you trying to keep all the
Yeah.
money? You just like
Yeah.
every other broker, greedy. You like every other broker. Shut up. Don't tell him.
Yep. And you know what? When I first started dispatching, that was my problem. I was giving up free game. I didn't know how to not give up free game, and that's why they was jumping on the load boards they sell. I had to do some self-searching and some reevaluation to figure out what was I was doing wrong, and it was because I was talking too much. I was giving up free game.
What they say?
Hey, girl, you lost a lot of money. Oh my God.
Yes,
Game need to be
yes,
Oh
game
my
be sold,
God.
not told. That's what they say. The game is to be
yep.
sold, not told.
You know what I usually do? I got carriers, guys that I dealt with when I was out there at Darling. So I got some guys that actually want to run with me right now. Been worrying me for years to get my brokers, stuff. And I go ahead and tell them right on rip. I take a certain percentage off the top. You already know that, straight up. And that's what I tell them. They be like, okay, 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 because it ain't nothing that's gonna knock them over or bite, kick them in the butt or whatever like that. I'm pretty reasonable and I'm fair because you're just starting out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I would tell them. But they just so anxious. They ready to move, ready to go. They don't even care. I'm like, okay, you say that now, but then once bigger stuff started to come, You know what I'm saying? That means, well, that percentage may change. Just like everybody else started from the bottom. You know, they start small, they crawl before they walk. Then once they get up there, things change.
So now you got the agreement with the carrier at 20, what was it, 2350 or 20, let's say 2400. You got 28 and you got 2400, that's a $400 profit margin. You send that carrier what's called a rate confirmation or a load confirmation to officially accept the load. You've already onboarded the carrier to get them approved to run under your brokerage. That's the first step. And as a broker to get a carrier to move a load for the shipper, you got to approve that carrier first. Their authority needs to be approved under your brokerage before they can take any of your customers' loads. That's common sense, right? You can't give a customer's load to a carrier who is not an approved carrier under your brokerage. Not only is it common sense, it's illegal. So you can't do it, right? And then once you onboard them, part of the onboarding process is you have to vet them, qualify them by getting a copy of their authority, their carrier authority, their MC authority, their W-9. I'm saying this slow because I see Tamika taking notes. Their MC authority. Why the MC authority? Because you need to make sure that you have remember the definition of a broker. You are the person who arranges for the transportation of freight by procuring the freight from the customer and getting and hiring an authorized motor carrier to transport it. Part of the process of hiring an authorized motor carrier to transport it is making sure the carrier is an authorized motor carrier to transport loads. What determines a carrier to be an authorized motor carrier? Their MC authority. They have to have an MC authority governed by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, FMCSA. Okay? So that's your vetting process. If you get a carrier and they cannot send you a copy of their FMCSA authority, do not work with that carrier. You're wasting your time. Right? Again, common sense, right? So not only that, they need to have the authority to transport the freight. They also need to have insurance to cover what they have the authority to transport. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. They need to have cargo coverage in the minimum amount of $100,000 minimum. They can have more, 250, 500,000, whatever. But the minimum requirement. They can have liability, which is BI and PD, bodily injury and property damage. That is the definition of liability insurance. Bodily injury, if you damage your body or hit somebody, or property damage. You back into a loading dock and you damage the property or whatever. Property damage. Liability cover, the minimum amount, $1 million. Right? The minimum amount of liability to have from a commercial insurance company to just qualify with a commercial insurance company is $750,000. $2 million in the aggregate, but $750,000 as a minimum to get commercial insurance from like Progressive, State Farm, whoever. But most brokers and customers require nowadays $1 million minimum of liability. So their authority to make sure that they qualify, their insurance to make sure that they cover the insurance, just like with us. We drive cars, right? Our driver's license is our authority. Having insurance covers us. It's the same thing in transportation. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Driver's license gives you authority to drive, right? It was actually a privilege, not a right. It's a privilege to have a driver's license, not a right. But anyway, you get the point though, right? So, and then next, go ahead, Tamika.
You mentioned the W-9.
Yep, the W-9. I'll go ahead and mention that next. The W-9 shows that the carrier is a legalized trucking company with an EIN number verifying that they have a business as a transportation company. So you need your authority, your insurance, your W-9. Those are the three bare minimum requirements. There are others that are optional if and only if the carrier is dealing with a factoring company. If they have a factoring company, then they would need to send you, the broker, a copy of their factoring company's credit application to do a credit check on you, the broker, and a copy of the factoring company's notice of assignment telling you, the broker, hey, all invoices that are payable to this carrier are now payable to us, the factoring company, because we have stepped in as a representative of the carrier and we handle all invoice factoring, all invoices, all PODs. That's what factoring does. Okay. We'll get into detail about factoring later, but that's the gist of what they do. Okay. So that's how you vet and qualify and onboard your carrier. You're going to do this over and over again. When you start brokering, it's going to be second nature. And you're going to have software that automates it for you, like a TMS system or your load boards. So it's going to be even easier. You just click one button and it does everything else for you. You're going to have onboarding software like RMIS, Assure Assist, and My Carrier Packet. Those are the 3 common onboarding automated software systems that onboards and approves your carriers faster. The most popular of which is called RMIS, Register Monitoring Insurance Service. It is a broker and a real estate property management onboarding tool. And I think, Sierra, you're familiar with it.
What was the middle one you said? You said RMIS,
So
My Carrier.
RMIS, Assure Assist, and My Carrier Packets. Those are the 3 common onboarding softwares. All you do is click a link, or all you do is you get the software because you're the broker, but you send that link to the carrier. They click it, put their MC or DOT in it. It automatically populates with most of the free data, and then they fill in the blanks with other stuff. And that's like 5 minutes. Upload it back to you, and then you qualify them. Once you qualify a carrier, you get them approved under your brokerage, then you shoot them or email them or send them the load or the rate confirmation for them to read over, agree to, and sign and send back to you. Once it's signed and sent back to you, the broker, that load is officially booked. You also, the broker, are responsible for making sure that the pickup facility has the BOL, or the bill of lading, at the facility prior to the truck arriving. The BOL is the bill of lading. It is the title to the goods. That's how the shipping facility know what to load at the facility once that truck gets there. Because the BOL is going to have the BOL number, the pickup number, the order number, just like it, and it has to coincide with the rate confirmation. Because the carrier is coming with the rate confirmation, they're going to give it to the facility. They're going to compare it to the BOL. Okay, this is the right load. It matches. Let's load this trailer. Everything has to match. Okay? And you're tracking it as a broker, either by phone or by software. Okay? And this is a standardized process over and over and over again. Once you do it over and over again, it becomes second nature. The only thing that changes are the players, or the equipment types, or the types of carriers, or the types of shipping facilities, things like that. Your carrier gets to a shipping facility to get loaded, or a consignor, or a pickup location. A shipping location is called, sometimes it'll be on the rate confirmation as the consignor. 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 That is the shipper, or the pickup facility, or the origin. Those are all synonymous terms. They mean the same thing. The reason I'm saying it like that, because you're going to see an interchangeable display of those terms. So now you'll understand what they are. Okay, that's the pickup location to get loaded. Then that carrier is going to transport that freight safely and securely to the delivery location. Okay, so that's the destination, the delivery location, the receiver, or the consignee or consignee. CONSIGNEE. Consignee or consignee, however you want to pronounce it. You can either pronounce it proper or you can go Bama, right? Either way. So and let me go back to the shipper. At the shipping facility, you want to make sure that your carrier, when they get loaded, to let you know when they're loaded and get ready to leave, and also make sure that they sign next to the shipping facility manager's name and timestamp and date it. because the shipper is going to tear their carbon copy off and keep it for their records. And then
It
your
should be
carrier,
like 3 or 4 signatures on it.
right. And then they're going to transport it safely and securely to the consignee or the receiver. And the consignee is going to offload the trailer at the delivery location, take possession of the freight after they do their quality checks and make sure that there's nothing damaged. There's no overs, shorts, or damages, OS and Ds. You'll hear that a lot. If the shipper is satisfied, no OS and Ds, they will sign on the BOL in their location, taking possession of the freight, removing or indemnifying the carrier and the broker. Indemnify means to remove from responsibility. They will indemnify, 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 remove from responsibility, the carrier and the broker, because the shipper has now taken possession of the freight and they've signed a BOL saying so, and the carrier has signed next to their name and time-stamped it, verifying it. So now that BOL with a signature at the shipping location and the receiver location and your carrier's trailer empty, that BOL turns into what's called a POD, proof of delivery. Because why? Their trailer is empty and they have the paperwork with the signatures. Of course it's a POD. And that's what's used to get paid. That's the invoice to get paid by. They're either going to send it to you, the broker, to get paid, or they're going to leverage their factoring company if they have one. That's the process, guys, over and over again. That is the process. Okay? Any questions? I'll stop here. I can't hear you, Vancia.
What is SID? SID, what did you say?
OS&D, he said.
OS&D, no overs, shorts, or damages. So they can't file a claim. That removes all claims. So overages, an overage is if that trailer is loaded with more pallets than necessary on the shipment. It was 22 pallets, but they put 24 up there. That's an over. They didn't order 24 pallets. They only ordered 22. That's an overage. Shorts if they ordered 24 but they loaded 22. They're short 2 pallets. Then that's a short. Obviously, damage is if there's any damages to any freight in there. Pallet slid, freight damage. You ever heard of concealed damage? The boxes look good, but you may hear shards of broken glass inside. You know something's broke. That's called concealed damage.
And the shipper know that because sometimes they'll put this stuff all the way in the back.
Yep.
And then when you start unloading it, now you got chicken and all this other stuff falling all over and stuff.
And the receiver will still reject that and file a claim.
Or we'll reject it and send it right back.
Then either send it right back or tell the shipper what they want to do. Hey, just get rid of it. Destroy it, we'll cover it or whatever, or send it back. Now you got to either pay that carrier an extra rate con to get it, have it shipped back, because the carrier ain't gonna do it for free. Look, my job, I got paid according to this rate con to pick it up from the shipper and bring it to this receiver. I didn't get paid to take it from the receiver back to the shipper. I'm not moving my truck or take this stuff off my truck. My contract, I honored my contract, offload my trailer so I can get out of here. Oh, we want to pay you though, take it back. Okay, well, send me another rate con for the same amount. And I'll take it back. That's my next load. If they're a smart carrier. If they dumb, they be like, okay, I'll take it back. No.
I've had carriers refuse to even let them take stuff off of their truck.
So what was the reason behind that?
Um,
Because if they don't take it off their truck, they're not going to get paid. How are you going to get paid?
no, it wasn't that he didn't let them take them off the truck. They wanted him. No, they didn't give him the BOL.
So they didn't give him the BOL at the shipping facility.
Yep.
Before or after?
Wow.
It was after he got to the shippers, and so he was like, "No, because you're not taking this off until I get a BOL."
Well, wait. You said
wait, what?
Go back.
You mean the receiver?
The receiver, right? So he got to the shipping location to be loaded. He got loaded.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
He got loaded. He got the BOL at the shipper, and it was signed by the shipper, and he transported it to the receiver. Right?
The BOL wasn't signed.
That's
what it was. It wasn't signed.
Well, then he shouldn't have left. He shouldn't have left the shipping facility. He wasn't supposed to leave the shipping facility without a signed BOL.
And that's what I told them. So I had to get on the phone. I had to contact that facility, have them fax me over a signed BOL.
Wait a minute,
I
wait
had
a
to
minute,
do
wait a
that
minute.
before.
Wait a minute, wait. Hold up. What carrier in their right mind would take possession of a load without it being signed by the
But
facility?
Charles, you got a lot of them that do that though. I used to stress enough when I worked in the office as a manager. I used to tell them, make sure you check your load, make sure you check all your paperwork.
So this
And
is
then
this
what
is good.
happened? Just what she just said. They get whatever in the world they at, and while she in her slumber, they calling 3, 4 in the morning.
Yep.
Listen, they ain't trying to unload this load. What you want me
Yep.
to do? Why? Why is it? Well, first I'm gonna tell them to do like I always look at your paperwork. What's going on with your paperwork? Because a receiver is not going to accept the product unless something is wrong with your paperwork. The numbers could be different, seals could be off. Something is wrong with the paperwork. You talking about you ain't signed it?
Yep.
Oh
Right,
yeah,
because it could be
no.
considered that could be considered stolen commodity because
Exactly.
the shipper not once the shipper signs the BOL, they release legally the freight to you, the carrier, and responsible for transporting it to the receiver to accept the commodity.
Now
So that
see,
if they don't see a signed shipper side, then they can say, "Well, you could have got this from anywhere. It could be stolen. I'm not taking this," says says the receiver.
that's what they were
Mhm.
saying, that he had stolen goods on his truck. And he was like, well, y'all, they still wanted to unload him, no. And he was like, no, I'm not gonna, no, we're gonna get this right.
Yeah, because they could take it and then call the authority and say, "Hey, man, he dropped off some stolen stuff."
Yep.
And then
Yep.
because the receiver paid for the freight from the shipper, right?
Yep.
So now the receiver say, okay, well, they'll take it, but we don't got to pay you because there's no signature saying that you gave us this freight. We just
Yep.
got it from a carrier, and he could have got it from anywhere. So we
Yep.
don't have to pay you, shipper, because your dumb self didn't even sign the
Yep.
BOL on your side.
Yep.
I know that right there is aggravating as crap. I know it is. I know it is because I had that happen a lot with
So
Yeah.
here's the thing though. So as you brokers, that's a good. I'm glad we're saying this because now put that in your notes on the Raycon as instructions for your carrier. Make sure
Yeah.
you check signatures on the shipper side and the receiver side before you send me the BOL or now the
Mhm.
POD at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, because now that just makes you a little bit more tighter as a broker. Now that you understand what could possibly happen, make
Yeah.
sure that the tell your carrier in special instructions on your rate con, make sure your shipper signs it. If your shipper does not sign the BOL prior, do not leave that loading dock of that facility and call
Yep.
me.
I used to have drivers text me when they got somewhere, text me when they got there, let me know when you start waiting, text me that, especially if I'm sleeping at night. Let me know when you're on the scale, let me know when you back there getting loaded, let me know what time you come out, let me know what time you hit the scale, let me know what time you hit the sign your paperwork, let me know what time you leave the facility. I need
Right.
to know all of that
You
because I
tracking
want
everything.
exactly. I need to let. I made a. I would do a group chat and I would let them tell me, that's everything that I would need for them to know, and then let me know when you get the receiver, just in case you get there before I get up. Now, when somebody got these questions, where your truck was at, what your truck was doing. Well, at this stamp time in my phone, it says that he was idle. So this tell me that he ain't moved in 10 hours. I ain't get no text message in 10 hours. Now he back there on the 11th hour. Now you got to pay him. Because when I worked at Darling, my boss man was treacherous. He did not want to pay detention time. You cannot let trucks idle and think they're gonna come in here and pick up your product for free, and then they got to sit all night because your plant is down. No, they did what we asked them to do. We ordered the truck in, they came in to pick up the product to ship wherever it is that we need to ship it to. And you gonna say you're not gonna pay them? No, 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 no. No, that's not what we're doing.
Yep.
Because you can get sued like that.
Yep. She's right. So these are good points that you can put as notes and reminders for your carriers in order to make sure that you're running a tight ship for your brokerage. Make sure that because as a 3PL broker, you are responsible. That's why the shipper hired you as a broker. You're responsible to make sure that carrier gets that load from your customer's facility to their customer's facility.
Either make sure they check their paperwork too. Like hopper bottoms, like me dealing with hoppers. Hoppers deal with seals. It's supposed to be 3 seals on a hopper bottom, 2 on the side where the doors open up at the bottom and one in the back for the crank handle. I always tell drivers, make sure you look at your because they will mess up quick on seal numbers. It might be a typo or fat finger or something like that, but they would do that. If those numbers don't match them seals, the receiver ain't taking it. They ain't taking it. Either they're gonna call down there and say, hey, look, can we get this done over? Or they're gonna send the truck back with broken seals. And now you gotta pay a truck to go up, to go back down, then go right back up.
Wow.
And then the receiver might not even take it now, because why? Meal spoils. They have PV levels. So the longer you have meals sitting somewhere, the higher the PV level is. So by the time they get it back and they run their test on it, the specs, it might be out of spec. Now you got a load that you got to buy, you paying for, and then you got to find somewhere for it to go.
Wow.
It's a headache. That hopper, that's a headache.
Yeah.
Because your trucks, they don't move like that. They don't move back and forth like that. They'll sit for long periods of time, depending on what's going on with the plant, depending on if they got anybody in there working. It depends. It's a whole lot of going on with that right there. It's a lot. But your truck will idle a lot doing that.
She's right. So, Tamika, is this good information for you?
Excellent.
This is her first day, guys. First day.
I'm trying to tell you that
Tamika.
right there will have you smoking. I'm telling you, boy, you'd be so pissed. Like, what? Or especially if you get somebody that's real asinine in the transportation office that don't want to move your truck if they ain't got nobody back there loading.
Yeah.
That's a problem too. Then you got to deal with people that want to be hard or difficult to deal with, and they ain't even really got to be that. They just like that just because they can be.
But what I'll do is, are there any final questions here? I'll end it here. I don't want to give you guys information overload, but I think we got enough for this evening. And we went through a scenario with the load board and rate quotes and doing a spot market and putting it on a load board and understanding what to charge the carrier, how to onboard the carrier, and how to deal with the shippers and customers. We walked through a whole scenario and a workflow, if you will. And we'll do this repetitively until you get it down to a science. That's the whole purpose of a beginner's basic 101 training, right? You want to get it down to a science, and because basics, you solidify what's called a foundation, right? And everything needs to stand on your foundation. So these are some of the things that you need to harden down on and understand thoroughly, right? For any broker. And you'll be surprised, and I'll tell you this, and it may come as a surprise to you, it may not. Some of the seasoned and some of the veteran brokers don't even know some of this stuff, what we're talking about right now. Some of them either learned it by on the fly, by mistakes, experience. Like they say, experience is the best teacher. But if you can get it right the first time and start implementing the right concepts the first time, then you avoid as many mistakes as possible. You have less mistakes. You're going to have mistakes. I don't want to deceive you. You're going to make mistakes just like you make mistakes in life. But the beautiful thing about mistakes is that you learn from them, right? Experience is the best teacher. You learn, whether it's good or bad, you learn from the experience, either what to do or what not to do the next time, right? I know I'm sounding like a preacher right now. Let me stop, because I'm going to pass my collection plate around in a minute. But So here in this training, we talk common sense, rationalize, and we break things down. It is what it is. So welcome, Tamika Simmons. Glad to have you.
Yeah, welcome.
Guys, thank you all.
Welcome.
What part of the world you in?
I am in South New Jersey.
Okay.
The Jersey
and
girl.
We add this South because there is a big distinction between South Jersey and North Jersey.
So you sound like Philly by Philly and all that stuff, by the tunnel?
Exactly. I'm close to Philly.
Like Fort Washington and all that stuff? Close to that?
No.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. Yeah, I'm closer to Philly.
Okay, yeah, because I stayed at Fort Washington at the hotel right at Philly, and the tunnel was right there to go to Jersey.
Yeah, I am. Now I know what you're talking about. I'm like, wait, Fort Washington? Yeah, I am. I'm near that.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm close to all that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome. You have the modules here, the self-training, all the resources. Next time I'll probably take you on a tour. But let me go to the calendar here. First of all, right here, the training videos, just like this training right now, it's recorded. And all of our training videos are stored in this right here. Training videos library. Okay. And they're grouped by the months that we have them in. Like, for example, August will be this is August, so we'll have an August video right here. Our last one was August. I got over 500 some videos back here. I don't lost count. August 12th, which was Tuesday. So you can go in there and watch Tuesday's recording. It was an hour and 44 minutes. Now, August 15th, today is going to be in this place, and this one's going to bump to the right. Right?
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to the top, and you can select. So I created this experience so you can navigate it easier, make it more user-friendly. So that's where all the training videos are. Go back to and then the calendar, our Zoom calendar, right here for August. We're here the 15th. Our next Zoom call will be the 26th, that Tuesday, because we have it every second and fourth week of each month, Tuesdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how we know where to go. Okay? And I'll go ahead and format this one, get it up there and going. And I'll navigate the portal next time and show you where everything is and how to get it. And then, matter of fact, I want you guys to start navigating. Go through the portal and tell me, this could have been here. It would have been better if this would have been here. I'm trying to make the user experience even better. So if you go through the portal and say, hey man, I think this would look better over here because it's more feasible to be in this area as opposed to that area. So because I want to get the students' experience the best experience possible. And with websites, you're always tweaking it. So you're never going to have a perfect website, right? You're always tweaking it and making it right. So, all right, guys, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you that Tuesday, the 26th, I believe. But of course, if you have questions prior to that, you can reach out to me. You guys have my number, my email, right? Let me put it in the chat real quick. But everybody, I'm very transparent. I'm probably the most transparentest person on the planet. But
yes, he is. He's very awesome. Matter of fact, I've been knowing Charles for 5 years, and I think yesterday was my first time meeting him in person.
We forgot to take pictures and everything. What in the world?
I ain't lying. We were so excited. We take no pictures of nothing.
That would have been good. And with my mentor, Mr. Irwin, oh, that'd have been. I'd have put that on the YouTube channel. That'd have been over.
Right.
It's okay though. We'll get another opportunity.
Y'all was slipping on that one.
I know. We was just so
just
excited.
happy though. Like,
Mr. Irwin. Yeah, I'm a sponge when I get around Mr. Irwin because he knows he's forgotten more than I know. I'll just put it like that. so yeah.
Really, really nice person. Very, very nice person.
Yep. So okay.
Invite him to the class one day.
He came before. But I'll probably have him come in. I'll probably see if he'll come in on Tuesday the 26th, and I'll say, hey, Sierra asked you to come in the class. She wants to see you in the class. He's sweet on you with his flirty self. So, but yeah, okay, I'll ask him to come in. He'll probably show up, knowing him. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend. And any questions, comments, and things, you just call me, email me. We'll go from there.
All right, everyone, have a good night.
Oh, have a good weekend.
All righty.
Yeah.